They think it's kind of funny. What they're watering and what's going to come up underneath them are going to be people who believe this rot.
Douglas Murray was on Bill Maher, and Bill asked him about his appearance on Joe Rogan last week. So he was on Joe Rogan, and he was on with a comedian, and they got into it about sort of what is the responsibility of podcasters and people that talk for a living to either tell the truth or push back against lies and propaganda and everything else. And here's Maher and Murray on that.
Like us do, who recognize this as a big problem on the left, but also recognize the horrible stuff that's going on the right. I mean, you were on Joe Rogan a couple of days ago, a week ago, something like that. It got a lot of press. And I'm glad you said what you said, which is, I like Joe, but he has on people who entertain these crazy conspiracy theories and doesn't really push back on them. It's okay to have, I'm a free speech absolutist pretty much, but there seems to be no pushback on this. And of course, what's going on in this country, what we're going to probably be talking about here on the panel in a minute, this kind of encroaching fascism. I mean, I was using the term slow-moving coup before he got elected the first time.
Well, the right, clearly, I mean, it's always interesting to see what happens at the point of victory. What do you do with your victory? And if those people on the American right who are now in the ascendant, if they decide that they want to use their point of victory to, for instance, lie about the origins of the Russia-Ukraine war, or lie about the nature of Hamas, or lie about the state of Israel, or lie about history. I mean, the reason I did this pushback was, I mean, you just have to. I mean, you just have to, in my view. It's basic social hygiene. If you've got somebody who's coming along who pretends to be a historian, who then can always do the thing of saying, oh, I actually don't call myself a historian, it's just other people I allow to call me a historian. I'm not a car mechanic, but if I kept on being introduced as a car mechanic, I would say, oh, no, you got the wrong guy. So they don't mind it. They don't mind it. They have this slip out.
Okay, so I'm going to show you another clip in a moment, but basically what started this kind of catching fire online is that there now seems to be a question as to, A, who should be considered an expert? Should we care about what experts think? Clearly, the expert class failed us largely during COVID. We found out we have been lied to about so many things. I don't know that there's anyone literally in media that talks more about the media's lies than I do, right? I mean, what have I done just on this very program itself? But I think the real question at the moment is what responsibility, now that the alt media, which I am a part of, the alt media is ascendant, obviously, right? We now have the culture, and the mainstream media is descendant, and they've lost control, and they'll always try to figure out ways to regain control, and you got to give the devil his due. The machine always finds a way to recalibrate and all of those things. But as the alt media grows and the mainstream media falls, what responsibility do we have? Bill said it perfectly, like he's a free speech absolutist, basically is what he said. But everyone has some level of gatekeeping. This is just true. Bill doesn't put every single person on his show. Certain people get on his show. Joe puts certain people on his show. Not everyone gets on his show. I do that. Like, that's just reality, right? You have a finite amount of time, a finite amount of resources, and everything else. So the question is, as we are now ascendant, what responsibility do all of us that talk about the news have to do something that is true, to not just put people on who lie or anything else? And I'm not even making a commentary on anyone specifically at the moment. I actually think that we have a pretty significant responsibility to do something that is true, because we are ascendant now. Maybe we had a lesser responsibility while these guys still had so much power, but as it is flipped, I think the responsibility has changed. Douglas kind of continued on that.
These people that I was trying to call out on Joe's show, they are doing things like Hitler wasn't that much of an anti-Semite. Main problem in the 20th century was Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was the warmonger. Adolf Hitler wanted peace. And I just, look, it's a matter of social hygiene. Don't feed me this shit. And this is all, and you know, there's obviously this crossover between the people who are just trolls. They say this because they think it's really fun to do the Jewish question, to do like a bit of Holocaust denial, a bit of Hitler praise, a bit of Churchill degradation. They think it's kind of funny. What they're watering and what's going to come up underneath them are going to be people who believe this rot. And a lot of people, you can clearly see on the right at the moment, are very happy if you can denigrate the tradition of Winston Churchill and pretend that Adolf Hitler wasn't so bad, because then you can do things like Christian nationalism. You can do really, really tough nationalist stuff. They basically
You can buy Kanye albums.
That's the last stage. That's like the ultimate. After they've absolved Adolf Hitler, they want to absolve Kanye, and then they're going to get to the point of hell.
Well, it's a great book. Everybody should read it. Thank you. Always great to see you.
Yeah, I mean, nobody says it better than Bill. So just to be clear, Joe can put anyone on your show he wants. I can put anyone on my show I want.